Recording, Marcia?
I'm recording.
No. Okay. This is just a kind of a little quickie introduction to Bunka, and I'm going to show how to make a rug. For all of you people out there, there's three brands that I'm familiar with. I don't know if there's any new ones, but there's K.
Uh-oh. Okay, that didn't work, Shirley.
She's muted, Marcia.
I know. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, just a minute. We'll start this again.
Okay, I'm muted.
Okay, I'm gonna mute all, and then you unmute yourself.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let's try it again. I just want to give a little introduction to Bunka for those that aren't familiar with it and do a demonstration on making a rug. There's three brands that I am familiar with. There might be others. The one brand is KAO. The other brand is Matsuhatu. And then there's YLI. I do not like YLI, and I will show you why shortly. For purchasing it, I was trying to look around last night. I know there's other dealers that sell it. Joanne Roberts, I tried to find her website, can't find it. Ruth Stewart sells it, but it's only an 84-inch length for $1.25. And Dragonfly International sells it on the 6-meter card for $1.60. So unless somebody knows other places to get it, that's what I could find last night. Now for making a Bunka rug, the tools that you're going to need are some sharp scissors. And I have just these little ones here that are very sharp, that are only used for cloth. You're going to need tacky glue and toothpicks. Now, for my own use, my favorite thing to do for working with plants or the Bunka is to keep a toothpick in my mouth so that it's damp, and then I can pick it up, and it just picks up so easy, and you drop it where you want it, and it releases right away. But now with COVID, and if you're making it for somebody else, we have to readdress that situation and try to do it a little more sanitary. But that's my favorite thing. Keep the toothpick in your mouth, and just that little bit of dampness picks the paper or the Bunka up wonderfully. The other thing that you're going to need is a can of Pringles. You get to snack on the Pringles while you're working, and then you use the lid to put your glue and your little pieces of Bunka in. Now I'm going to switch the camera down here, so bear with me while I'm moving it and see what we can do for focusing. Okay, we'll try and work on it from here. Now, I mentioned the three brands of Bunka. Here's the KAO brand. It comes on a card. It also comes on just a loose, it's kind of wound around with a little tag on it. That's the newer way, but the older Bunka comes on a card like this, and it says KAO. The Matsuhatu is green. The YLI came on a white card. I haven't bought any Bunka in years. The last time I bought it was at the last convention that I went to, and I got it from Joanne Roberts. Now, two reasons I do not like YLI, and I will show you. Hopefully you can see on my paper here. Okay. You can see there's two different yellows here, but they are both the same number. Both are number 119, YLI. They are not consistent with their dye. I mean, this is two totally different colors. One is just pale yellow, the other one is golden yellow. Another reason I do not like YLI, it's a coarser thread. So let me get these here. It's kind of hard to see on here, but the YLI is a looser weave. The other two brands are a tighter weave. So when you ravel it out, the YLI doesn't ravel out as nice. Also, when you're raveling out your threads, especially if you pull off a chunk and try to ravel it, one end raveled out nicer, the other end raveled out looser. And I'm going to try and, I don't know if you can really see that, but this one here, it's nice and tight. And over here, it's looser and funkier. The other brand, in comparison, it's a finer curly, I guess you would call it. The camera is not going to cooperate with me here. Now, the main thing that I like to do when I'm making a rug, oh, another way to buy bunka. A friend of mine gave me these. They're just tassels she bought at Christmas time. And these are like the YLI brand. They're a coarser weave. If you go through all your high school junk and get rid of your tassel, save it, that's bunka. Now, the one that I'm going to demonstrate tonight is a small rug, but this is kind of how you do it. This is one that I started a long time ago and never finished. It's 3D coloring. So you cut your little tiny pieces of bunka, put glue on your surface, and then put your bunka on it. I have a rug here that I've started, got it almost completed. Let's see if we can get a better view here. Can you tell I'm not familiar with doing this? Let's see what we can do. Okay, that looks pretty good. There. Now I've got this rug almost completed except for this little tiny corner here. Now I have already cut my bunka into little tiny pieces. You don't want it any longer than 1/4 of an inch. And you take your Pringles lid and you squirt some glue on there. So you just get a little bit of glue on your lid like that. Then you're going to dip your toothpick in the glue. And where you want this color, you're just gonna kind of color in with your glue that area. Now, like I told you, this is a whole new thing because I'm not used to working with a dry toothpick. But you're going to take little pieces. So now there's my first 2 pieces of the green. And then I'm just going to fill it in. Once you get it in place, you just kind of press down a little bit. It's a pretty quick process. It just takes a little time to fill your glue in on your design. The rugs that I make are all original designs that I have drawn out. There's a lot of sources for rugs. You can take a coloring book. You can take pictures from a magazine of throw rugs and then draw it out. There's a lot of different ways to come around and come up with designs. And I just like to draw it on a piece of paper. And then I take my paper. There's a couple of different ways you can do that. You can glue your paper to a non-woven interfacing type stuff. I found now for wanting a rug that's got a fringe on it, I just buy cheap muslin. That's what this one is on. I just take cheap muslin and glue it on there and leave it a little bit long. And then when I'm done, I will show you what I do, and you have fringe for your rug. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing, because I'm trying to do this and not really watch on the computer. If there's any questions, let me know. Type them in and just pat it down so you got a good bond. And there's your 3 leaves. Now for the background, I've already pre-cut that into little pieces. And you just smear your glue all over here real good. Regular tacky will work. Now, if you use regular tacky, there's a lot more water in it. So you've got to be careful about warping of your base material. And you may have to put it between a book or something heavy to iron it out after you're done, to get it to lay flat, because it may warp. That's not a problem. Just, you know, put it between something heavy. And just draw the glue back between the 2 leaves like that. Oh, and when you're raveling your bunka out, when you start it, if one end does not look good, turn it around and pull on the other end, because there is a right and a wrong end to the bunka. And when you first start to ravel it out, you get fuzzies on it. This piece here has the fuzzy on it. There. So you're going to just clip that off there, and then you got your piece that you need. But you just go through and put the bunka in here, pat it down a little bit. And basically what you're doing is just coloring in 3D. And don't pull it back off after you put it back on. Always, always cut the end off that you've raveled. It may not look like it, but you will have a fuzzy on there, and then you get a fuzzball on your carpet. This rug here, I think it's about a 2x3. It takes about 3 hours to make from start to finish. Now, sometimes you can take big, long pieces of bunka and do a weaving back and forth and here and there, kind of like brain coral. But you do get that look. And I will show you on a sample next, because I have done that on some rugs. And you can see where you wind back and forth. I don't know how well it'll show up on the computer camera here. But once you get going, you can see it really doesn't take long. The hardest part is doing your little design, your little flowers, your little leaves, and getting it all in your design work. While the glue is still wet, it's pretty forgivable, and you can kind of push it, the bunka, around a little bit. It's just not grabbing on for me real good because I'm using a dry toothpick. I find using a toothpick is easier than trying to use tweezers. Tweezers get to be cumbersome, and you got to pinch each piece and pull on it. So toothpicks are the easiest tool to use for me. To each his own. Try it however works good for you. You can see how quick this is going here, doing the fill in here on the background. It doesn't take long at all. The first rug that I ever made, I took a class at my first convention in Chicago, and it was a Oriental style rug. And after that, I decided, well, okay, I want something with flowers and more bedroomy or whatever. So I just drew my own designs. Coloring books would be a good source of designs, but they're big, so you have to reduce them down on a computer. Look at your ads. I used to look at Target ads. They had some nice throw rugs. And sometimes you can kind of look at that, and if you're a good artist, you can draw it out yourself. Now this rug that I'm doing here right now, I've just done in one color. I will show you next where I've used two colors for the flower. You do a darker outer petal and then do a lighter middle, and it gives you a totally different look. And it's always nice to have some little teeny weeny spots for, like here where you just need a little tiny spot, and you just get a little teeny piece here and stuff it in. Now there's your completed rug. Now when you're all done, what I like to do is come through and cut the edge here. And see how that gives it a nice straight edge where this side looks a little lumpy. Now I just used cheap muslin for my background. My design is on paper. And then I take and I ravel out the muslin. Make it a little bit bigger than what you want the rug. That way, when you start raveling out, you can trim it. It's easier if you have a straight pin to get your threads started. When you're gluing your pattern on, make sure you get it going straight with the grain. Otherwise, when you're raveling out your fringe at the end, if you want fringe on your rug, it'll be kind of wonky. Okay, now you can see how I've trimmed that. And then I just take the scissors, and however long you want your fringe, that's where you cut it at. So you have fringe on your rug. Now this one here I did on paper. This one, there's a non-woven backing, the paper, and then another non-woven backing. Because when I was first learning, they were doing it like that on a non-woven fabric. This is going to make a thicker rug. It's going to be a little thicker, but that's two ways of doing it. Now I'm going to let's see, we need to raise this up a little bit. Nope, that's not gonna work. All right, I'll just take the camera in my hand. Now this is the rug that I just completed. Right here. And there it is, the same rug with a little darker pink next to the flowers. So you can see the two different looks you can get from the same rug. I've done it in other colors. I've got I don't know, a tan taupe color here. Purple with white. A sage green. And burgundy. The burgundy one I call my flying carpet. I took the stuff to make it on a trip to Las Vegas, and I made this entire rug in the air between Detroit and Las Vegas. Here's another one here where I used a paler pink and outlined with a darker pink on the flowers. And this one here, let's see if we can, you can see the background here has that brain coral effect. That's because I used a long piece and just kind of at random wound it around. When you don't wind it around as much and do shorter pieces, then you get this look. Now here's some other rugs that I've designed. I wanted something for a baby room. So I did it in blue. Whoops. All right, let's turn it around. Let's turn it around and drop them. Okay, so here's blue, pink, and here's how I start it with paper. And this one does have non-woven material on the back. And when you're doing a darker color, always put something underneath where you're going to do, because you will have some spots come that show through and you get white spots. So color in. You can even use a pencil to shade. That will work too. but always shade it. That way you won't have little white spots showing. Or if you want to color it according to the colors you're going to be using. This is another rug that I designed. I like Oriental style rugs. Now, I intended to use pink flowers on this and gold. So I colored that in. Here's that same thing, uncolored. This one is on muslin. So when I get done, I can have fringe on the ends of it. So this is that rug that once it's made up. And if you look real close, there's a spot right next to my finger here, some spots where I didn't get close, but I colored underneath it and it doesn't have white spots showing. So always make sure you at least shade with a pencil so you don't have brilliant white spots. So here we have it in that color, the darker colors. Color isn't looking too good on here, but this is kind of a more of a sagey type green. And here it is in the tan color. Now this one here, I used a piece of grosgrain ribbon, but grosgrain ribbon is not what it used to be. Grosgrain ribbon, when you fray it out now, it just looks very, very fuzzy. It doesn't have individual fibers in it. It used to be very individually fibered years ago, but they make it different now, and it's not the same. And here's a couple of other rugs that I've done. I was wanting to do something that looked a little bit Southwest in style. So I just drew diamonds, which is very Southwestern, and tried to do the earth tone kind of colors. This one here was an actual throw rug that I was inspired at Target years ago. And it had the little leaves and the squares and everything. And here it is here on my base. And when I was a little girl, the neighbor next door took me to her mother's house in Owasso to visit for the day. And she had a rug that looked very much like this. It was more like a rag rug. And I remembered that rug from her mother's house. And that's where I got the idea for this one. Just a very simple few flowers in the middle, flowers around the edge with your main color in between. Here's that same kind of design in a square. And here's another one that I was going to make, but I never did. We all have those projects. And I was going to do this with a dark blue and green and white with some pink flowers on it. So I pre-colored it with the colors that I was going to start with. Now, are there any questions that anybody has? Marcia, if you'll unmute anybody. Okay. All right, Barb. Oh, all right. I'm unmuted, Marcia. I saw you shake your head.
Well, I got mine, but I think you're gonna have to go in and do it yourself. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know where we cut off here. I use paper for my design. That way I can color on it. And I glue the paper right to the fabric or the interfacing. And Elaine has a question about drawing right on the fabric. I don't know how you would do that and get fine detail, because even with a sharp pencil, you don't get the detail as good unless you know what you intend to do when you're drawing it on there.
Okay, some of you have figured out how to unmute yourself.
Yeah,
How did you do it?
I just went down to the bottom and unmuted myself.
That's right. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mute in the bottom left corner. Unmute.
And what device are you on?
I'm on a Mac.
Okay, because it could be different.
I'm able to unmute myself. I'm on a
Okay,
laptop.
Trouble.
Myself. I can do I did myself also.
Me too.
Okay, Anita is still muted.
I'm not now.
Okay. And Betty
Yeah.
and Doreen. Well, you keep that's okay, Doreen. I know.
Okay.
Shirley, those are very pretty.
Yes.
Very nice.
Very
Okay.
pretty designs and very pretty rugs.
Elaine is going to have to leave soon. And so where are you, Elaine? Are you still here?
Shirley, could you spell the other Bunka, not the KAO, but the other one? Could you spell the name?
Mm-hmm. MATSUHATO.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Now, I wrote down, there's 4 of you ladies that have never made a Bunka rug before, and they're not familiar with Bunka. So I scribbled your names down here, and I've got them in here. I would like to give one of you ladies a kit to make the rug that I just made here.
Oh, that's
nice.
very sweet.
Oh, wow.
Well, now, wait a minute. I've never made a rug. I want a chance. I never made a rug
But
before.
you used Bunka.
Well, for hair, but that's not a rug.
Good try, Jackie.
Ditto, ditto.
Now,
Jeez.
Shirley, is
Other
that
Jackie's still
rug
in the
1 inch?
running.
Wait a minute, too many people are talking at once.
What scale is that rug?
It's 1 inch.
Oh, okay.
It's
Never
about
mind.
a 2 by 3 foot little throw rug.
So
Have you ever
how big
smaller
would a
scales?
quarter scale rug be? Could you do that?
Yeah.
A quarter scale rug would be too thick, probably.
Yeah, it would be a little thick.
It would be too thick,
Mm-hmm.
quarter scale.
Has anyone
Call it
tried
a
that?
shag rug in quarter scale.
Yeah.
Thick
So-
shag.
So I have Kathy, Julia. Let's see, was there? And I don't remember the other 2.
My mom was one.
Oh, Betty, yeah.
She hasn't. Yeah, I know she hasn't.
Jackie B, have you never worked with it?
Nope. Never even seen one.
Oh, Jackie. Yeah.
Jackie B.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I've got your 4 names in here, and I'm just going to reach in and pick out one. Jackie B.
Yes.
Billy, I saw you on there. Have you worked with Bunka before?
No, never. I've never heard of it. I've never seen a Bunka rug. I've never even seen the thread.
Yeah, Billy.
Oh.
Billy is new to MCC also. Billy, have you worked with Bunka?
You know, 1,000 years ago, I guess, when I very
Okay,
started.
so
yeah.
you know what it is and stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So what would be a substitute if we wanted to try it in quarter? What could we use instead of Bunka? Any idea?
Maybe
Shirley?
embroidery floss.
Yeah.
Single strand and it doesn't. It's not curly though.
It doesn't have the
It
curl.
doesn't have the curl.
What I make rugs with is the velvet paper, and you print it, you know, just like printing paper. It's not the same as a Bunka rug, but you know, that gives you that kind of
It does
squishy.
have a little texture.
The
Yeah.
velvet
Yeah, I was just-
paper from scrapbooking, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was
Suede.
just trying to figure out if you wanted to make a pattern yourself and do it in quarter.
Yeah, but I mean, you're gonna have to come up with whatever you're printing. So it's but yeah, I
Not
can
following,
make these
sorry.
happen. Huh?
Yeah. You wouldn't be able to put anything onto that velvet paper though, Preble, right?
No. I'm not saying that you're trying
Yeah.
to add to it. The printing is what. So
Yeah.
it's just gonna be a print on top of the paper.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out how you could do it like Shirley's
Yeah.
in quarter. That's where I'm trying to figure it out and I can't.
You know, they're kind of thick, but the one thing that I thought of for quarter scale, and I know this sounds a little weird, but cut a hole in your floor, you know, your wood flooring, the size of your rug, so that your rug will go down into that hole.
Yeah, if you want to go to that effort, yeah.
Well, that would work.
And who's talking there, Rebel?
Oh, well, I've not ever done anything like that.
I'm not
I've got stuff closed.
Well, I
The
guess it's the opposite
meticulous
of cutting a
one.
hole in your ceiling for your Christmas tree, you know? If your tree is too tall, you cut a hole in your ceiling. So this way you cut a hole in your floor.
Okay,
Shirley, thank you very much for that. That is very nice. Good job.
Kathy
thank you.
Price.
Great.
Okay, where'd you go, Kathy?
And Jackie, I need to get your last name and your address.
Look over there on the chat.
Yeah.
To go back to the idea of cutting a hole in your floor versus if you, in real life, I am aware of, if you like have a wool rug that's really thick, they may actually edge it, as in you have the floor, then you put the wool carpet down, and then they have edge around it that is to level it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you could theoretically do this in 1/4 inch. Your pattern is not going to be as clean as what Shirley was getting, but you could do it, and then you just would edge around that to level it. It wouldn't be actually a lot of work. You're not cutting a hole in your floor. You're actually leveling it up.
Shirley, if you look in the chat, I sent you a private chat message that has my email. Just send me an email address and I will reply to it with whatever you need.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I just need your address so I can mail this out.
Okay,
And do you want-
Kathy Price, where are you?
Jackie B, do you want fringe
Here.
or no fringe?
Fringe.
Okay.
Okay, you had some rugs to show, yeah, Kathy?
No, just that one. It's
Oh, there you are.
yeah, it's just the one that it's done with knot cutting, and I haven't finished it. You know, I've done the center and the edging, and I'm still working on the well, let's see if I can get it up there.
Yeah, you
I'm
gotta hold
From
it
your
up
face,
higher.
Kathy.
fine.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty.
It's very
So
pretty.
Is there any
Love
different
those colors.
materials in that?
It's on Pellon. The design was printed on Pellon. I took it in a class. You can run Pellon through your printer.
Oh,
You find a design that you like. You know, if it's a thick enough one, you know, that's about the weight of paper. And this is just basically the same thing, but we didn't cut ours. Now, I have done them where you cut them. And we did that for class in our club, where we did some small things like a seashell on a rug for a bathroom, or your monogram on a rug for a small rectangle or a half circle for a doormat. And then you just put your initial on it, and you put the initial, put the background, and then put an edging on it. So, but then I put when I do mine, I put a muslin backing on it and fringe it like Shirley did. I do that when I run a rug through the printer, just to print a rug, like when you print on that fuzzy paper, or when you print a rug on muslin. And then I just put a backing on it that you can fringe.
Okay.
Anyone else used Bunka to make rugs in something a little different or whatever?
Well, I was looking through the old Nutshell News, and this one is from May of 1988, and it has a Bunka rug, and it tells you how to do it.
Oh, thank you for that.
So I thought that was pretty cool, and it looks like a really good one.
Yeah.
May, you have something different?
Yeah, this is what I started in my class however many years ago, and I basically just got the leaves outlined and the veins in, but the leaves still have to be filled in and the background and everything. But hey, someday I'll get back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of my kits.
Oh, I'm telling you, I can't wait to
okay.
try this.
Maybe I took this class from you.
You probably did. Yes.
Whose kit was it?
It's a banana palm trees, a tropical rug. And I do mine, I don't cut it up in little pieces. I use long and use the tweezers, and I use a glue syringe to put the glue down in fine little lines, and then tweezers put it in. So it's really a lot tighter and smooth in a lot of areas. So it's a different look. It doesn't look like a fluffy rug.
I'm looking at my instructions, and yes, Stephanie, this is yours. I have a glue syringe that came with the kit.
Can I see it? Can you hold it in May?
Yeah. Where am I?
There you go, right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
What color background do you have?
The pink.
The pink one, the flamingo pink one.
Right, yeah.
Black and the pink, yeah.
Yeah, because I had to find this, and I finally found it, and I was glancing through some of the instructions as we were sitting here, so.
So are you filling in the leaves on that, or are their leaves done?
Oh, no, they'll be filled in. I just got the outlining done, basically.
So do you must fill them in with the opposite colors, or?
Well, no, the leaves are filled in with a different shade of green.
Ah, okay.
Several shades of green.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's going to be a job.
I sent you my address. Do you see it? Shirley?
Yep, here it is. Okay, thank you, Jackie.
Well, thank you.
Another thing that you guys can do with Bunka, you know them little tiny plastic cheap Bunka plastic babies? They used to call them Bunka babies, where you put glue all over them and wind Bunka around so it looks like they're in a little, you know, like those little cherry sleepers. And they used to call those Bunka babies.
Ah.
For the people who
I wonder if you could do 148 doll clothes with this stuff.
Yeah, probably.
You can make little flowers like for the neckline. You can make you can cut pieces of Bunka for flowers and leaves if you want to put a little design on top of a bow or something.
Julia,
yeah.
Did your Chris bring you a flower?
Yes, my husband got me one when he went inside to grab us lunch at a little grocery store, Market Street, and he grabbed sushi. We eat sushi from it's a fresh sushi place in there, and he went and grabbed that and came out with the rose too. So
How sweet.
it's been a rough week, so he wanted to get me something to kind of cheer me up.
That's sweet.
He took the day off because it was first day of school. So.
Oh, right. On the
Excuse
chat,
me, Shirley, for the new people that haven't used Bunka before, can you maybe do a little demonstration of what, because there's like 3 different ways you can use it. You can use it straight as it comes off the spool or the thing, or you can pull it off and then it becomes all ravelly, or you can just pull it off gently and it's like a long curl, like for doing the
for dolls.
Yeah.
For doll hair.
So if you stretch it out, it gets a short piece becomes really long and it's all crinkly, and you can use that for doing trims on clothes and things. But anyway, if you have a piece that you could show so they know what you can do with it.
I think I mentioned in the chat that if it's not tight enough, once you've pulled it out, you can put it in the microwave for 30 seconds and it will tighten it up.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good hint.
I'm trying to save the chat every once in a while, and I will try to get that together and put that on the files or whatever also.
Good job, Marcia.
Kim has some different brands here in the chat box, or it's a link. Elaine says another brand is Kanagawa. That's Sandy's Laces and Trim. Used to carry, so who knows?
Is she still around? Is Sandy still around?
She sold it to somebody else some time ago. So I don't know.
Is it called something different then?
Probably.
Now, I was trying to look up Sandy's Lace and Trims last night, and it said it's wholesale only.
Oh.
Oh.
Now, Anita, I'm not sure.
She used to have all those classes.
Yeah. I'm not sure what you were talking about, Anita, because I only pulled it like, and it came out like this. But I know if you pull it again, you can pull it super fine sometimes.
Yeah, usually I take a piece and I pull it with my fingernail.
Yeah.
And then it becomes, it's funny, there's several things you can do with it depending upon how you treat it. And if you pull it out to its maximum and then release it, it gets all like crinkly, like I'm having a hard time describing it. But you can use that to, that would be good with the rugs, I think. Because it would, it's just more curly, I guess. But you can.
Yeah, it depends which end you pull on it, because sometimes one end pulls different than the other.
Right.
So if you get pieces and you pull on it a little bit, and if you don't like the look, pull on the other end.
Okay, Shirley, so you ravel it out before you cut the pieces, and they are all about 1/4 inch?
Less than 1/4 inch. You don't want anything more than 1/4 inch. And you can have some that are just little tiny like spots, because you'll have some places where you can fill in a spot.
Okay.
Stephanie, you mentioned Joanne Roberts. She does not have a website.
Right.
But you can call her and she'll send you stuff.
Yeah, because at the shows, she has bunka, she has silk ribbon, she has laces.
She has fabric.
Yeah, she's got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, another comment is fabric with the design drawn on it. Interfacing works great. Oh, with the drawn, interfacing works for that.
Yeah, that's what I've got. Well, this one here is the paper, and then I glued it to the interfacing.
And somebody put, you can put toothpick in water. Yeah, well, that's too
Shirley?
easy.
Yeah, but I would spill the water.
Shirley, hold it up again, what you just showed.
Oh, this is the paper design for the rug that I just did, and it's on fusible interfacing. Just the thin
okay.
stuff. But if you want fringe, then you would use cheap muslin. Just the cheap muslin. It's got the, I don't know, the little color spots in it.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty coarse fabric. So
It's unbleached muslin is what it is.
yeah, so you know, it's just something that would, you know, ravel out and look like fringe. The grosgrain ribbon, I don't know if you can see this up here. It just looks fuzzy. It's not, you know, like strings. Grosgrain ribbon used to ravel out really nice, but now they make it different and it just looks fuzzy.
Oh, you can't unravel it, huh?
You can unravel it, but it just, the part that you unravel the long way, that's where you get your strings. And it's just like each string you could see like doll's hair. When you start to unravel it, each one has about 10 little fine fibers in it. So it doesn't really,
now it's made of microfiber. It's not made of natural fibers like it used to be, like cotton and rayon and silk.
yeah, it's not what it used to be. So just cheap muslin material works good, because that's what I've used on all these, and you can see how it looks
More natural.
more natural, more like a fringe.
I will have to get out, dig through my stash, but I have a lot of old stock gross grain ribbon in my
Well,
house.
you got the good stuff.
Well, a long time ago, there was a store that sold nothing but ribbon, and they had a lot of sales and a lot of clearance, and I really just loaded up. The store is gone. It's been gone for 10 or 20 years now, but I've got quite a bit of gross grain in the house still. I'll have to look.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what y'all are talking about. When I get the kit, I'll look at it and try to figure out what y'all are talking about.
If you want colored fringe, maybe you could get 100% cotton fabric and use it.
Yeah, your cheap fabric at Walmart, because that's
Yeah.
coarser than a good fabric.
But it probably should be 100% cotton so you can glue the paper on. Because if it's bland, you maybe couldn't glue the paper on very good. Maybe it would not fade.
Stephanie has a comment on here in the chat box that she uses woven interfacing for the backing on her rugs and tape it over the design on a clear piece of plastic on top of the design, or print the design on interfacing on the inkjet.
Okay. I'm not getting those new messages, Marcia.
Well, I think I've got them all here, and I print it every once in a while or save it or whatever, so I hope I get it all.
Yeah, the last one I got is from Gail.
Maybe they're only sending them to the host.
No,
Well,
those comments are from like way back, like 15 minutes, half hour ago.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Anita, what was the deal about upholstery shop?
Oh, yeah, oh my. There's a couple of them. I was near Annapolis. There's a lot of designer upholstery shops there, and every once in a while they would change every year, I guess, or whatever it is, they changed their fabric line, and they would have these really nice books of samples, and they would have the fabrics. I mean, they were designer silks and all kinds of beautiful things, and they would just throw them out in the trash. And so I asked one of them one time, if you get any of them, save them for me, and they did. And some of them had tassels, big fat tassels that had all kind of bunka and what's the other? It's a real thin. I can't think of the word. A thin. Just. Boing. Anyway, just real thin trims that you could cut off, and like if you were doing a tablecloth, like a drop tablecloth on a round table, you could run the trim around the bottom of it to give it a nice finished edge. And they were long pieces because they were into these big tassels, and by the time you pulled them all out, it was a nice piece. But that was a good source for bunka, all kinds of unusual trims and bunkas and things like that. Plus the fabrics are good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have any upholstery shops near you, give them a call and say, you know, if you're going to throw any away, please remember me.
I think I've got all the comments on here, but if I missed anybody, just speak up and tell us what you put on there.
I have a question for Preble. Is that velvet paper you were speaking about, is that the same thing as what Dragonfly sells? It's called suede paper?
Yeah, probably. It may not be, because I have purchased some that is, it has a almost grass-like, you know, pokey up, sticking up kind of texture to it. And then the suede paper, which is, it can be much thinner, you know, still thick, but it can be much thinner. Both of them are really hard to find in like white. You know, everybody else wants them in colors, which makes it harder to print on. So anyways.
Because I don't do scrapbooking, and velvet paper is not something I'm familiar with, but I have used that printable paper. That's the suede, I guess it's suede. I don't even know what it was called when I bought it, but they used to sell it in packs, and then I think it just disappeared.
I have some I can go grab.
I have a packet, I think I got it from Amazon, of white velvet. See if I can find it.
Those make beautiful rugs if you print on them, but in tiny scale.
So question on here, is bunka synthetic or cotton?
It says it's rayon.
It's rayon or silk.
Rayon.
Okay.
I'm going to hold this little doll up again. This is another one, if you can see it. She has braids, and the braids are made out of bunka. Her wig is made out of bunka, and her braids are just, you know, plaited for that too.
Is Stephanie still here?
No.
No, I think she left.
Okay.
Tina, can you hold that back up?
The doll?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so cute. Was her hair unraveled? Was it unraveled, or is it the full piece?
It's bunka that's been unraveled and then glued in pieces on her head, and then the longer pieces are just braided down the front.
Really pretty.
Yeah, I used to make clothespin dolls and tree ornaments and use bunka for the hair.
Oh. Here's another one that has the long curls.
Oh,
that's pretty.
Oh,
that's another way you can treat with bunka. Leave it in the long curls.
That's pretty.
Oh, yeah.
I can't find my paper that I bought, but I'll look for it and show you on Tuesday.
Okay.
I just recently saw it, so I'm not sure where I saw it.
Okay, you said bunka was mainly rayon?
Yeah,
Rayon.
Okay,
rayon.
I just put that in the chat box so that when I print that, it'll be there. Okay, any other questions?
I have my velvet paper here.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I just went and got.
Not sure how well you're gonna, but it has a definite fuzzy feeling to it.
yeah.
You can, iron things into it to give an impression. You can do that on velvet. I think they call it suede paper, so you can search for velvet or suede paper. But it's something, and it's got some thickness to it. I don't know if you can
Well,
see
it doesn't look
that.
all that thick, but yeah.
Well, it's definitely, thicker than a sheet of paper.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's thicker than if you just glued a piece of fabric to, your paper, which when I do printing on that, you can just print it. It's got a good backing on it. But when I do printing on fabric, I do use the freezer paper method. I know you can buy those packs. But I bought the freezer paper and I have enough to go last forever.
Pay for a lot of pre-done.
I just bought some of that paper from Amazon, and they called it velvet paper where I bought it. But it's I bought the ivory color, but yeah, you can put it in the printer, and it definitely has nap to it,
right?
Like velvet. So
Yeah, that's what I have, and it's 8.5 by 11, so it goes
yeah.
into a printer.
I wonder
and
how hard that is on your
it's
printer.
if you want, when you were talking about 1/4-inch rugs, it's good for a 1/4-inch rug.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
you
what
can
I-
use it for 1 inch if you want a more detailed look, but you can't move it around because that printing is not going to embed into the fibers. It's just going to sit on top of that the thickness of it.
Oh,
mine's not that thick. So
Yeah, but the ink is not going to seep
penetrate
into
down
it.
into the paper.
It's not, it's something to experiment with. I've made some that were 1/4 inch and I thought they turned out really well.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I will stop the recording if I can figure out how.